Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my journey to Islam on Hikmat TV 24/7 online. We are very blessed to have with us in Hikmat studio Sister Zulikha Sinfort. Welcome to the show, sister.
Thank you.
It's really a pleasure to have you with us in Hikmat studio.
Alhamdulillah.
Sister Zulikha has a very interesting background. Very interesting in holistic medicine, in Sufism, spirituality, and her journey to Islam. So stay tuned as we talk to Sister Zulikha Sinfort. So tell us, Sister Zulikha, what motivated you to get into medicine to begin with? Before we get into holistic medicine, prophetic medicine, and the whole 9 yards that you are involved with.
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here and to share my stories, a little bit of knowledge that I can with all the viewers and the listeners.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Medicine, I started medicine as a career. Actually, when I decided to go to medical school, before I was working at Jackson Memorial Hospital.
Okay, doing what?
I was working as a health service coordinator and also a translator. I used to translate for Spanish-speaking patients who then speak in English, for Creole-speaking patients who then speak in English. And one day, as I was translating, and I was like, gee, I am being used as a translator. I may as well go to medical school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're talking everything about medicine.
Yes. And then at the same time, I used to give advice to a young lady, and she said to me, gee, you should be an advisor. And I started questioning everything, and I'm like, let me think about it. I went to Barry University and asked questions about the psychology program and the medicine program, pre-med and all that. And after they gave me the information, I said, okay, I think I'm going to med school.
Good.
Then.
So where did you go to med school?
Well, first I started at University of Miami, where I did my pre-med. And being in being in pre-med school, it was very difficult. I was working full-time. I was married with 3 children. And you can imagine how hectic it was for me.
Married, 3 children, going to medical school, working full-time. Wow.
Yeah. And at that time, I went to see my advisor to select classes for my next term. And then the advisor, I don't know if because she knew that I was married, I had children, and it would be very difficult for me. And she said to me, I don't think you're going to make it. I think you need to consider a different career. And I was offended because I'm like, you can do anything you want if you really set your mind to it and you have the passion. If it is your calling, you can. And at that time, I decided I was going to leave University of Miami, and I did. And I went to study abroad. And that's when I started my journey studying medicine. And so I went to Dominican Republic, and I did, about a year there, and then from there I transferred to Romania in Europe.
She went to Romania in Europe.
Yes.
That was interesting, and that was the opening of many different things in your life.
Yes, yes.
So that brings us to the point now of, so what motivated you? What's your first connection to Islam or Muslims? Tell us about that.
My first connection with Islam was when I was in Romania. I met a friend. She was the first one she was in medical school as well.
Well, I think we need to let our viewers know that you have only accepted Islam formally and officially 1 year ago.
Yes.
But you said, before we came on the show, that you have been a Muslim for more than 12 years.
Yes.
you have officially accepted 1 year ago, but in your mind, you have been a Muslim
Yes.
over 12 years ago.
Yes.
Good. So you're getting into this journey, and you met the first Muslim in Romania.
Yeah, that was in 1998.
1998. Yes.
So I could go back and say I was a Muslim 21 years ago.
Interesting. Yes.
Because at that moment when I met her, she carried something that attracted me, and I just wanted to be her. I didn't know exactly what it was, but she was very kind, she was honest, she was always there to help people. And when she smiled, when she talks to you, when she greets you, my heart was always opening. And I was really attracted by her qualities, and she became my best friend. And that was the first Muslim I met, and the first Muslim friend I had. And that connection was something that left really good, positive images and yearning to know more about Islam.
Okay, so she was, where was she from?
She was from Sudan. She
Studying there also?
Yes, studying there, and she would lived in the Emirates, but she was from Sudan.
Wow, yes. So you were very impressed by her lifestyle, her conduct, her pattern, or whatever we want to say of conduct, huh?
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
So what were some of the things that impressed you with her?
Just her qualities. Her qualities. She was always saying, "I'm sorry," even if it's somebody else's fault. She's apologizing for them.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen anything like that before, because I come from a society where people are so
arrogant.
And and even for me, I learned so much from her, because it was always difficult for me to say I'm sorry. And I would always be pointing fingers on the person who's wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong. And from her, I learned how to say I'm sorry, because she was always, "I'm sorry." And
so where are you originally from?
I was born in Haiti.
Yeah. And how many years now have you been in the United States of
I left
America?
Haiti 40 years ago.
Wow,
Yeah.
40 years.
40 years ago. Yeah.
40 years of experience in this part of the world.
Yes.
That is phenomenal. You were at UM, you mentioned. What were you doing at UM?
Well, I started my pre-med at UM. That was in 1994. 94, yeah. In 1994, probably 96. I don't remember. It's been so long.
Of course, it's
so long. Yeah, I started pre-med at UM.
Yeah, yeah.
And then from there, I transitioned to medical school.
Interesting. And that all started happening there, and that's the medical field. Before we get into your acceptance of Islam and the whole Islamic story and your journey, what motivated you to get into holistic medicine from the regular medications?
Well, what motivated me was because when I was working at University of Miami, and I didn't feel a connection with Western medicine. That connection started to die, even though I went to med school and went to all those trainings. But that connection was dying inside of me.
Why did that happen? What did you see? What did you experience? You know what I'm saying?
What I experienced was people were giving medicines, and it's like, take it for the rest of your life. It's not going to do anything for you. It's not going to help you. It's not going to cure your problem, but take it for the rest of your life.
You mean regular medicine? It's all about just taking a medication. It doesn't matter if you get cured or not.
Or not. And I used to ask questions, but we're giving them these medicines, these drugs, but what is it really curing? It's not curing anything. It's just take it for the rest of your life. I started to question, and I'm like, there ought to be something that can help people. So with that, I ended up resigning my position at UM, and during that time, I went to study Eastern medicine. And it was through guidance, questioning, you know, there were some doubts.
So you just started Eastern medication and medicine.
Medicine, yeah.
But before we get into that, tell me something. What is your perspective about companies that bring samples to doctors and then give the doctors a cut? I hear this all the time, that some
Right.
doctors get a cut or they get some kind of benefit by promoting medications that companies come and give them samples of. Is that true? How much are you aware of that?
Well, you know, with everything, promotion, 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 right? So without promotion, it's like your product is not going to sell. And who's the best to sell the products is the doctors, because the doctors are the ones to write the prescriptions. The doctors are the ones to tell the patients to take this medicine or don't take this medicine. And patients do listen to doctors. And there are patients who follow doctors' prescription just by the book.
Yeah.
And some patients, they would inquire, they would make their own research and know about the side effects, about the pros and cons, and some, they don't even know about the side effects. And even when they are experiencing side effects from the medicines, they don't even think it could be the medicines. So those companies, it is their interest they are defending because they know who to go to. They're not going to go to the liquor store and say, promote this for me, because they know most likely they're not going to sell there. But the doctors are the first ones for them to connect with.
Right,
Yeah.
right. All right, so you went into Eastern medication,
Yes.
or medicine, as we say.
Medicines.
And how did that start about? Where did you go? What did you do, etc.?
Yeah, it started right after I left University of Miami. Then I started with Indian medicine, Ayurvedic medicine. And then while I was studying Ayurvedic medicine at the same time, I was studying prophetic medicine at University of Spiritual Healing and Sufism in California. Yeah.
Oh, so your studies in prophetic medication, prophetic medicine,
Medicines.
ended up guiding you towards the doors of Islam.
Yes, I would say, yes. Because in the program, we learn to do healings for almost anything, any illness, and I would say with the surahs, with the ayat, with the 99 names of Allah, we do ruqya to clear negative energies, to clear, you know, evil eyes, black magic.
So what caused you to go to study prophetic medicine?
When I met Sheikh Sidi Mohammed Al-Jamal, and I took the bayat with him to become a Sufi.
So what led you to going to meeting him?
I suffered from anxiety. And for many years, I had this severe anxiety, and it was an anxiety that really affected my life in a way where I couldn't even drive. Because I would be driving, and I would see the moment that I stop for a red light, and I feel like everything is closing with me, and I'm putting the car on, shifting the car on park, and get out of the car. That's what helps me most of the time. So while the light is red, I'm out of the car.
Oh,
when it turns green,
goodness.
I get back in the car and start driving again.
Wow.
So this anxiety was so powerful at that time. And then a door was opened for me where I was offered to go to meditation at Nova. In this meditation, the teacher, she was a Sufi. And when I got there, she was, the meditation was working with the 99 names of Allah. And one of the names was Allah. And they started chanting Allah and to the meditation class. And as we were practicing this name, chanting that name, every time, once a week, I go there, but on my own, I would be driving, chanting Allah, Allah, and the anxiety went away.
Wow.
And it took a fraction of, like, I would say 2 months. The anxiety completely went away just chanting the
And
name
you
Allah.
were not a Muslim as yet.
I was not a Muslim yet.
And you were reciting Allah, Allah, Allah.
Yes.
And your anxiety disappeared.
Correct.
Excellent.
Correct.
Mhm.
But
Subhanallah.
thank you, alhamdulillah. There was a Sheikh, Sidi Mohammed Al-Jamal from Jerusalem, who comes to the U.S. once a year, and he would do a weekend workshop in different states, and I was invited to go. And I was curious because I know I was searching for something. I didn't know what it was, because at that moment I used to go to visit Buddhist temple, all kind of Hindus
So you were trying all kind of healing, medicine and spirituality, etc.
Yeah, I was searching. I felt empty inside because at that point I stopped going to church because I felt like I was going to church just as a fashion show, dressing up, and then the moment that I get to sit on the bench or the chair, I fall asleep. It's like, I don't want to hear what you have to say, but I'm here. And then I started going to different churches, denominations, and temples and all that, looking for something, but I didn't know what it was. So when she gave me that invitation, and I accepted because I'm like, oh, I'll go. And then when I got there, the sheikh...
To California?
No, here. Actually,
okay,
it was
locally.
in Florida.
Yeah.
It was right in...
okay, that was just the Sufism meeting.
Yes. And then it was in Fort Lauderdale, somewhere there. And then when I got there, he's
What year are we
teaching-
talking about here?
It was in 207.
207,
It
okay.
was, yeah, 207. And then I was so impressed by the teaching. He was teaching about Isa, Jesus. And I felt that teaching was so profound. And it was a teaching that I never heard before.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't sitting in the church listening to someone preaching.
So you're hearing a Muslim talking about Jesus, peace be upon him.
Yes.
All right.
And it was fascinating for me to hear this. And it spoke to my heart, not to my head. And
Yeah.
my heart was opening. But as I was sitting listening, and I started thinking of, you know, going into my mind, because I'm seeing this man, Middle Eastern man, on the outer image, Middle Eastern man wearing this long jalaba, kufi and all that, and talking about Jesus. And I'm like saying to myself, a Muslim talking about Jesus? What does he know about Jesus? And suddenly he said, I know more about Jesus than you do. I'm like, oh gee, he's even reading my mind. And toward the end, he offered an invitation for anybody who wants to take the bayat, what we call the promise to become a Sufi. I saw a bunch of people going to him, and I just followed. But I really didn't hear the announcement. I didn't understand.
Just followed everybody.
I just followed. And after I finished to take the promise, he gave me a name, Zulikha, and meaning deep love.
Yeah.
Then one of the sisters came to me and said that I just took the promise. I'm like, what promise? Because I was unconscious of what I was doing. Because if I knew consciously, I probably would not get up. I would try to resist it. But Allah has pulled me to do it without knowing what I was doing. Then after I took the promise, and we had to do some sort of exchange sacrifice, and this is typical in the Sufi path. When you take the promise, you do a sacrifice as a seal of your commitment to become a Sufi. And after I gave my sacrifice, I'm like, gee, what did I just do? That cost me so much money. I'm going to go to every free event they have to kind of make my money, get my money back. And I started going to every free event, every dhikr, every teaching. I started going, and the more I was going, the more I was feeling connected. My heart was opening more. I was going deeper, deeper into learning more about Islam and
Yeah.
the Sufi path.
But how did you end up in California at the center where you learned prophetic medicine?
It was around that same time. The knowledge was something I wanted to have, because this teaching is so deep and so profound, and it's not a teaching I've ever heard before. And my heart was open to know more, to learn more. And when I heard about the school, and I'm like, definitely I want to go to the school. And I was ready to sign up for the school right away.
Interesting. To study prophetic medicine.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was ready.
And you were not a Muslim as yet.
Correct.
Officially.
Yes. Correct.
So we have already been speaking for approximately 20 minutes. Would you believe that? 20 minutes.
I believe you.
God.
Yes.
So when we come back, we're going to go on a short commercial break. When we come back, we want to talk a little bit now about your coming into Islam.
Wonderful.
How you accepted Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
What were the signs that led you to accepting Islam? You know, how has your life changed since you accepted Islam? And the whole 9 yards pertaining to that. All right, so stay tuned. We are talking to Sister Zulikha Sinfort. And Sister Zulikha Sinfort runs an advanced healing wellness center where she does holistic medicine, and she also does prophetic medicine and spiritual healing. So it's very interesting. And in today's time, that's the solution to a lot of problems, illness and sickness that people have out there. So stay tuned. When we come back after the short break, we will continue this conversation with Sister Zulikha, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to my journey to Islam on Hikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is indeed a pleasure to have with us in Hikmat studio Sister Zulikha, and we're going to continue our conversation with Sister Zulikha on her journey to Islam. We spoke about her medical background, her interest into medicine, etc., etc., etc. And now we're going to get a little bit into her spiritual aspect. Sister,
Yes.
let us know a little bit, now that you have been involved in prophetic medicine, Sufism, and you're not a Muslim yet,
Correct.
right? How and what motivated you now to accept Islam?
Well, what deep in my heart, I would say, I knew I was always a Muslim, but
Because
I
you
never
said
took the Shahada.
that you only accepted Islam 1 year ago, but you have been practicing Islam as a Muslim for over 12 years now.
Yes, correct.
Good. And what do you mean by that? What were you doing?
I was doing the Salat 5 times a day.
And you were not a Muslim?
I was fasting every year.
Uh-huh.
I fasted. The first time I fasted, it was
Were
partially.
you dressing Muslim?
Yes.
Are you kidding? That's interesting. So before you accepted Islam, you were dressing Muslim, huh?
Yes.
You were fasting.
I was fasting.
You're
I
praying
was
Salah.
praying Salah.
What about the Quran?
I read the Quran. Yeah.
Wow.
Every year.
I think that is so
Yeah.
interesting,
Yeah.
so motivating to Muslims who are born Muslims but do not read the Quran.
Yeah, I read the Quran every year during Ramadan.
There are many
The
Muslims who are born Muslims, they do not pray Salah. They do not even fast. And here you have not accepted Islam officially as yet, but Allah has guided you.
Yes.
Allah has guided you. You had the hidayah, the guidance from Allah. Even you didn't know that.
Yes.
I mean, in saying, well, I now accept. Allah accepted you.
Right.
So Allah had you practicing Islam.
Let me share
Wow.
something with you. With the Salat, the first time when I started praying Salat, that was around the time when I had to make my decision to go to school and to go to Sufi school. So I didn't want to go alone. I wanted to go with my husband But at that time, my husband, even though I took the promise and become a Sufi, my husband did not yet. And I wanted to wait for him to experience that with him. And I heard how powerful the Salat prayer is, and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to start praying that. I didn't memorize the prayers yet, but I just had a sheet in my hand praying, and I was committed to do that 5 times a day. And I was praying, asking Allah to open doors for my husband to say yes, to go to school with me. And at that time, I think school was starting in November, and it was July. I went and purchased 2 airline tickets without telling him, one for me, one for him. But I continued to pray. I say, Allah, I do my part, you do the rest. I registered myself and him for school, and I say, you do the rest. And then in about, I would say about a month or so, my husband came, oh, I heard you're going to school. I want to go too. Can you register me? I say, you're already registered.
Oh, subhanallah.
So he requested the time off from work, and he was able to go with me. That was the most beautiful experience.
And what school was that?
That was the prophetic Sufis University.
Oh, you registered your husband and took him with you.
Took him with me, yeah.
Subhanallah.
So it was a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Yeah. Interesting. So you have been praying, you've been reading Quran,
yes,
and you are studying prophetic medicine. All right.
Yes.
So what were the signs and what led you to saying that you accept Islam? What are some of the things that happened before?
Yeah. I'm glad to share.
To say the Shahada, if I want to put it like that.
Yes, I'm glad to share that with you. I teach a meditation.
And I'm sure that our viewers worldwide will benefit. Oh, you know,
Yeah,
our viewers, we got viewers worldwide, and they do enjoy listening to people journey to Islam.
Yeah.
I think it is so motivational.
Yes.
And someone like you in holistic medication, holistic medicine, you know, prophetic medicine, spirituality, Sufism. This is very deep. This is very deep. Especially in today's time, Sister Zulikha.
Yes.
It is so much needed.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yes. So tell us some of these signs. I know everyone probably excited want to know. What are the signs?
Well, I teach meditation every Wednesday night at my clinic.
Okay.
And one night, a young lady came for meditation, and I asked her what brought her here, what was her interest in meditating. And she said, I'm here to take the Shahada. And I'm like, oh, I haven't taken the Shahada. Now, there's a young lady coming to me asking to take the Shahada. And luckily, I was doing a presentation on forgiveness.
So what do you do in this meditation?
We work with the 99 names of Allah. And sometimes we do some ayats. Whatever I'm guided to do, we do.
So you go into the Quran
also.
And you do 99 names of Allah.
Yeah.
And you're not an official Muslim as yet.
Yeah.
You have not accepted Shahada. Let me use the word Shahada. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And the sister comes in and tell you, I want to accept Islam.
Yes.
And you're like, you have not accepted the Shahada as yet.
Yeah. And yes, I didn't have to tell her that, but I was debating in my heart. I'm like, gee, I haven't taken the Shahada, and now this person comes to me and asks for the Shahada. Then a few days later, I was going to teach, I was going to present on forgiveness for the Muslim women of South Florida. And I invited her to go with me. I connected with some of the sisters, and I told them, I'm bringing this young lady who wants to take the Shahada. And then she went with me, and then there she took the Shahada.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Yes.
And then, I would say a few weeks later, I was teaching another meditation class. A young man came, and after I did the teaching, and the teaching was about the Sufi practices, Sufism. And then he asked me, how could I learn this knowledge? How can I become a Sufi? And I said, let me advise you to take the Shahada and become a Muslim, then you become a Sufi. And he says, yes, I want to do that. And then I connected with some brothers. And
So again, I must repeat, you did not take Shahada as yet.
Yes.
But you were telling this brother he should take the Shahada. Wow.
Yes.
You know, I'm saying these things because look at how Allah has blessed you and guided you and given you opportunities in your life.
Yes, and these were the signs because I was praying, asking Allah for signs, and the signs
So
were
you're getting all
coming
these signs
from different angles.
Yes. Okay.
And then he took the Shahada, and I had to travel. In a couple of weeks from that time, I had to travel to St. Petersburg to meet with Dr. Jaffe. We had a teaching class with him, actually. And the entire week I was there, and I felt like there was something happening inside of me, and it's like a connection. I was feeling this connection with the Prophet, peace be with him. And I was asking Allah, please show me a sign if you want me to take the Shahada.
Right.
Then that night I went to sleep and I dreamed the Prophet. I saw this beautiful, huge light, and it was the moon. And I couldn't describe what was around the moon, but there was so much to it, and it was so brilliant, so powerful. And I woke up in the morning, and I was sharing that dream with one of the sisters who was Muslim from Morocco, and she says, oh my God, you dreamed the Prophet. That was the Prophet.
Wow.
And
so
then,
you ask Allah to show you a sign.
Yes.
And Allah show you the sign of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in your dream.
Yes.
Allahu Akbar.
Yes,
Yeah.
Allahu Akbar. And then I woke up that morning, I was still asking Allah, show me a sign. And as I was sitting in the class with Dr. Jaffe, and he was doing an invitation if anybody wants to take, to renew the bayat, which is the Sufi promise. And then at that moment, I know the bayat, renewing my bayat is not what I needed. I was asking, Allah, give me a sign if I should take the Shahada. And at that moment, my husband stood up and said he wanted to take the Shahada. And my heart opened. This is it. I'm like, I want to take the Shahada too.
Your husband asked to take the Shahada.
Yes.
Subhanallah.
Yes. And then we both took the Shahada at that moment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what motivated him?
He's the same. He's been doing those practices with me for many years. We pray Salah together. We observe Ramadan, but never took the Shahada.
So you never thought that your husband would want to take the Shahada before you, huh?
No, because usually I do it and then I encourage him.
Okay.
Then he would do it.
Okay, so look at that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused a lady, a sister, to come into your center and ask you that she wants to take the Shahada.
Yes, yes.
Then Allah sent a brother a couple of weeks after saying he wants to take the Shahada.
Yes.
Or he said he wanted to join Sufism.
Yes.
And you told him he should take the Shahada.
Yeah.
And then you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a sign of your wanting to take Shahada, and Allah showed you the Prophet, peace be upon him, in your dream. Isn't that? And then you still had another thing. Your husband came and accepted. Subhanallah.
Yes.
I listen, you have really been chosen.
Yeah.
You know, in addition to people seeking, you were being chosen. Don't you think that's a direct blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Alhamdulillah. I think it was a combination of both of the two.
Yeah, you were seeking.
I was seeking, but I, wasn't sure. From the beginning when I was seeking, I wasn't sure what I was seeking for.
And Allah just started opening up these doors of spirituality, Sufism, and Islam for you.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And as our guide, Sheikh Sidi Muhammad Al-Jamal, peace be with him, says, Allah has placed a net. When you find yourself in the net, you know Allah has put you in there.
Yeah. I think that is a great blessing. That is such a spiritual motivation. So now that you have become a Muslim, when you took Shahada, tell us a little bit of your life change, how you felt. Well, technically, you were already practicing Islam before.
Yeah.
So they are not very much to change, but tell us, after you took the Shahada, what has happened after that?
Well, it was a joy that was different than any joy I had experienced before I took the Shahada. And we had 24 hours to pray,
Yeah.
to ask Allah for everything we want, or pray for others. And I had a lot of friends coming to me asking for prayers. And at that moment, I felt like I was Allah's star.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a chance to sit in deep prayer. We had what we call Hawa that same night, and it was an all-night prayer, and I had a chance to really connect.
Mm-hmm.
And even though this is a prayer I do frequently, but that night was the night that I felt a deeper connection with Allah through these prayer practices.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
I would like you to share with our viewers a little bit about your holistic medicine.
Yes.
Now that you are spiritually and, you know, from a medical point of view, you're trying to heal people spiritually and with holistic medicine. So what are some of the kind of things that you do for different kind of illness and sicknesses, etc.?
Yeah, I would say our practice is catered to address issues of the mind, body, and spirit, not just the physical body, which we see in Western medicine. And sometimes a lot of manifestation in the physical body, they are spiritual in nature. And if it is physical, it has to be treated with physical, but if it is spiritual, it has to be treated with spiritual.
Interesting. So if it's physical, you treat it with physical medication. And if it's spiritual, you treat it with spiritual healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I personally see, there are lots of people who have physical symptoms, but they are spiritual in nature.
Right.
So if you do not address the spiritual, the person cannot really receive deep healing. Palliation with medicines, yes, but healing, no. In Advanced Healing Wellness Center, what we do, we connect the mind, body, and spirit. So we heal not just the physical, but also the spiritual, with a combination of different systems, different practices, including using the 99 names of Allah, using the ayat and surahs of the Quran. As Sheikh Sidi Muhammad wrote so many books on healing, and he says, there is a cure for every disease. Allah created a cure.
Yes.
And we know that. It is true,
So
except
you have
for death.
people come to your center on a daily basis?
Yes, yes.
What are your hours of operation?
9 to 5. And some days we open until 7 o'clock.
On a daily basis?
Yeah, Monday to Friday.
So people come by appointments?
By appointments, and sometimes we have walk-in, but not that many walk-ins, but mostly by appointment.
And what are some of the kind of problems they come with?
Pain is always what brings people to...
Pain?
Yeah.
They got body pain?
Body pain. Pain is always what brings people to look for help, to see doctors, because often you may notice there's an imbalance in the body, and yet you're not connected with the imbalance if there's no pain. But the moment there's pain, there's an alarm that wakes you up and say, hey, you got to take care of that. So I would say pain, all sorts of pain, back pain, or shoulder pain, stomach pain, all kind of pain, yeah.
And so what do you do when they come?
What they do, the first thing I normally do, I feel the pulse. And when I feel the pulse, I am feeling the internal organs. I am feeling the emotions. Meaning that if this person has very deep anger or rage, I should feel that in the pulse. If they have grief, sadness, I would feel that in the pulse. They have fear, I would feel that in the pulse. And when I feel it and I question them, and the questions also help you to know for sure what is happening in the body. And when you look at the tongue, you see all the organs and see what's out of balance.
Interesting.
It is fascinating.
So you have all different kind of medications there?
Yeah, we do have Chinese and Ayurvedic herbal medicines that we give. I don't do Western medicines.
You got all herbal
but
medication.
we do have herbals medicines, yes.
Oh boy, so that is that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who are getting very holistic nowadays.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Everybody are getting into natural herbal healing.
Yeah,
and
this is the
spiritual
trend.
healing.
This is the trend because people are awakening, and with that process, a lot of people are connecting more with their spirit, with themselves. They're going more inwardly rather than outwardly, because people want to see results. They are taking medicines.
So you have all kind of people coming by you, Muslims and non-Muslims?
Yes, I do. Muslims and non-Muslims.
What
Jewish,
would you say
I have
is,
Christians.
What really? What
Yeah,
would you say is the
I have
majority? Non-Muslims
more non-Muslims actually.
come for holistic
for-
medication.
Yeah, yeah. But it doesn't matter who comes to the practice, everybody.
No, I
is
understand. I
open
understand.
to-
But that is so interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That is so interesting that a lot of people are now getting into that line of thinking,
Yeah.
getting back into natural healing,
Yes.
spiritual healing, prophetic healing. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, sister, we got just a couple seconds again to go. So what would you like to say to our viewers? We got our viewers worldwide that you can share with them in a couple seconds.
Well, I want to share with the viewers, especially those who are looking for connection, deeper connection with Allah, through the 99 names of Allah, we can embody those qualities and live a life according to the life of the Prophet. As we know, the 99 names of Allah, they take, when we work with these names, we go through a process of purification. We become the Salam, we become the Wadud, we become the mercy, the Rahman, the compassion, through those 99 names. So when we say we are a Muslim, it's not for us to say it verbally, but we want to live the life of a Muslim, to be the mercy, the compassion, the peace, the forgiver. As I mentioned earlier, the young lady I met in 1998 in Romania, what connected me with her, and I felt that deep yearning to know more about her, was because she was a true Muslim. And being a true Muslim means you surrender to God, you obey to God. You live a life of mercy and compassion and forgiveness.
I like that message, the 99 names of Allah. You got all those qualities. Al-Wadud, the most loving.
Yes.
You know, people get these qualities from Allah if you recite.
Yes.
And you recite and you recite and you repeat the 99 names of Allah regularly. The qualities of Allah, the blessings of those qualities will be descended upon you.
Yes, yes.
And it can get inculcated into your lifestyle,
Yes.
your thinking, your walking, your feelings. That is so deep. That is so
Yes.
deep. You know, and that really tells us that we are the creation of God. We are the creation of Allah.
Absolutely.
And if Allah is the most kind and the most merciful and the most wise and the most knowledgeable and the most loving, listen, the more we repeat that, that sort of connection will come into us.
Absolutely.
Spiritual insight, blessings.
Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you very much for that.
No.
Thank you very much for that. And that's what you do a lot in your healing process for patients, huh?
Yes, yes. We work with the 99 names.
And just to let our viewers know here, this is a sister who has been teaching people to recite and repeat the 99 names of Allah and different names of Allah before she even became a Muslim. And for those of you who have just tuned on, Sister Zulikha suffered anxiety in a very, 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 very bad way. And it is the names of Allah that she started reciting, and that healed her from anxiety. That healed her from anxiety.
Yes.
Wonderful experience, sister. You're blessed, and we are blessed.
Thank you.
In our Hikmat studio here, to have you with us in our studio, and I'm sure viewers worldwide will benefit from your message, your experience, and do you go about talking to sisters and brothers and people about spirituality and spiritual healing and holistic medicine, etc.?
Yes, I do. I do. In fact, I just came from Africa.
Ah.
And I was...
What part of Africa? What part of Africa?
I was in Nigeria with a group of Christians.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was with a group of Christians.
I have a lot of people in Africa that
Yeah.
really follow us on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I
And
do.
they're begging me to come across there. They're like, when are you going to come, Sheikh? When are you going to come? I'm like, all right.
Oh, it's really needed. Yeah. I travel to many different places. I go to India once a year. I do a retreat, healing retreat in India, Panchakama.
You do a
which is-
healing retreat in
Yeah,
India,
yeah,
in
a
Africa?
detoxification retreat
Wow.
in India, and part of these teachings I do as well as healing.
That is
Yeah.
deep. So if people want to invite you to talk a little bit about holistic medicine, prophetic healing and prophetic medicine and spirituality, you are welcome to that.
Oh, absolutely.
So they can
absolutely.
contact us. They can contact us. You can contact us at Al Hikmat office. You just Google Al Hikmat, you get email, you get the numbers, whatever, however, and we can refer you to Sister Zulikha. Sister Zulikha is blessed. I mean, if we had more time, I would just continue this show. I just can't go further. But could you imagine a sister is doing healing to people in the name of Allah and using the names of Allah, and she did not accept Shahada? And she did not accept Shahada, and she got the signs that led her to accept Shahada. Wow, that is deep. You were seeking, and Allah blessed you.
Yes.
And Allah has made you an example for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Thank you very much again, sister. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
viewers, for viewing My Journey to Islam. And today we had the Blessed Sister Zulikha with us on all spirituality. And thank you again for viewing. Stay tuned to Al Hikmat TV 24/7 online, and you can get these interviews on Facebook, on YouTube, on Al Hikmat TV, etc., etc., etc. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.